Having won the first test match and going into the second game on a high, what do you believe went wrong for the West Indies?
Many things went wrong for the West Indies, and the number one thing for me that went wrong was the execution, phases of execution, right? But I think the planning phase definitely went wrong for the West Indies. When West Indies were bowling, England, they came out very resilient, and we saw Ben Stokes and Dan Sibley batting with a lot of patience. West Indies, they didn't have a plan B, they didn't have a plan C. They kept on bowling full pitch delivery, looking for outswing, in swing, looking for movement, looking to try to get the batsman caught on the crease. There wasn't enough plan B or a plan C, and so that, I believe, was the first issue that went wrong for the West Indies in this game. Another issue I believe that went wrong was in the batting department, right? Yet again, we see a top order and a lower order crumble. West Indies have this strong tendency to either collapse at the top, or we collapse in the middle, or we collapse at the tail end. And I think that's really disappointing. At this level, you shouldn't be collapsing in every innings. When we look back at the warm-up games, not one score of 300. When we look at the first test, West Indies, we were on course to make 350 plus. We got bowled out for 318. Luckily, our bowlers did very well. And looking at this test match, yet again, West Indies failing to score 300. And the reason for that is not that we're not seeing stars.
Let's zoom in on the two openers, Craig Brathwaite and John Cameron.
I think Craig Brathwaite, he's pretty stable at the top. He's looking in good shape. I must say that before this England tour, I was worried about his form. He looks in good form. The only issue I have with Craig Brathwaite is converting his starts. He got 65 in the first test, in the first innings, and then he had 75 in the second test of his first innings. And so I think those scores he should have capitalized and scored a big 100, and he didn't. And then I think his second innings, he's not performing very well in his second innings. I think Brathwaite averages like 21 or 20 in second innings, and so he needs to work on that. As regards to John Campbell, right now he's on the pinnacle. He's on the pinnacle of being dropped. When I look at it, I think John Campbell, he's really struggling on this tour. In the warm-up games, he had scores of 4, a duck, 49, and now in test matches, I think he scored 57 runs from 4 innings. And so John Campbell, he's really struggling.
On the eyes, brilliant.
Yes, he looks pleasant on the eyes, but I think the issue with John Campbell is that he doesn't seem to read the situation of the game very well. His dismissal in the second test, in the second innings, we're chasing 311, and it's 85 overs. It's the first over of our second innings. See off the new ball and see what happened from there.
Yeah,
so I thought it was poor execution from John Campbell.
How about a different opening pair? Would you consider Craig Brathwaite and Shamar Brooks at the top of the innings, or somebody?
Shamar Brooks looked pretty solid. I wouldn't want to change him, ball. He's probably the most solid batsman in the middle order right now, in the sense that he seems to be able to. He's not caught on the crease like a lot of the other batsmen, but he's coming forward, and he also looks very good against the short pitch bowling. And so Shamar Brooks, I wouldn't want him necessarily batting at the top of the order.
You just touched on a point, the short pitch bowling. I noticed that the keeper, Shane Dowrich, he's troubled by the short ball. He's afraid of it.
Shane Dowrich, don't get me wrong, he's a magnificent talent.
Yes, he is.
But I think he's a lot better when there are full pitch deliveries or when he's facing spinners. You get to see his lovely drives. You get to see him using his speed very well. But I think that Shane Dowrich, he needs to work on how to handle the short pitch bowling. In the first innings of the first test match, even though he got a 50, he didn't get exposed to a lot of short pitch bowling when he scored that half century. But if you look at every other innings that Dowrich has played, he scored 20 in the second innings of the first test. And when he was exposed to short pitch bowling, he looked a complete different batsman. We see England going for the short full to him. So he bowled 2 short balls. He's then caught on the crease. and then they go full and he's trapped leg before wicket. And so I think he needs to change his mindset when it comes to the short pitch bowling. That's something to consider. And honestly, for me, I would be looking at replacing Shane Dowrich for the next match. And I would actually think of probably having Shea Hope wicket keep. He's a brilliant batsman. He's another batsman too that is not in any sort of form. But I would like to see maybe Shea Hope bat at 7 and take the gloves and just give Shane Dowrich a break, because he hasn't been magnificent in the first test either. In the sense of wicket keeping, I saw Shane Dowrich drop a couple of catches off Dambes and Ollie Pope. Luckily, it wasn't costly. And in the second test, his keeping wasn't really up to standards.
Right?
Yes, off Shannon Gabriel. That was Dambes. And I think Shea Hope could do a replica with the gloves of what Dowrich is doing, and he would provide better batting stability down the order.
How about the Silva as a wicket keeper?
Joshua Da Silva, he's looked pretty solid in the warm-up games. I would really love to see him in this team, maybe batting at the top of the order, or maybe batting at 3. And our top 3, generally they're struggling in the sense of facing a lot of deliveries. Not one game have we seen John Campbell bat more than 12 overs on this tour, right? Not one innings. And so I really would like to have somebody that is able to bat as long as Craig Brathwaite. Somebody like a Dom Sibley, Craig Brathwaite. We need Rory Burns, those type of openers that they're going to see off the new ball. I would be looking at playing Joshua Da Silva, maybe at the top or at 3.